Unit 1, Lesson 2, Corresponding Parts and Scale Factors. I can describe what a scale factor has to do with a figure and its scaled copy. In a pair of figures, I can identify corresponding points, corresponding segments, and corresponding angles. So I'm going to start with Activity 2 today from this lesson, and it has a Part 1 and a Part 2. We're going to be using the applet, so I'm going to click the blue arrow, I'm going to click back, and I'm going to click Open. At this point, I now have my applet open, and I want to also have my keynote there so that I can do both at one time. So it says to complete the table using the parts of these pictures. So it says, what is the corresponding part of point P? So if I'm looking on my on my original, which is the very first one, P is this bottom dot. So the corresponding in copy 1 would be F. So I'm going to put F. Then, if I was looking at the corresponding part to P, I could say Z in copy 2. Then it says line segment LM. So I'm looking at line segment LM, which is on the left-hand side of the original. So LM would be the same as BC. And would be the same as VW. Now it changes up. It says looking at copy 1, what is the segment EF? So EF is over to the right side. So on the original, that would be OP. And on the second copy, it would be YZ. Then it says point W on copy 2. So point W is at the bottom left-hand side. So that means on copy 1, that's C. And on the original, that would be M. So I'm looking in the same spot on all of them. Now, angles are named with 3 letters. So we're going to talk about KLM. So KLM. So the L is where the corner is, or where the angle sort of makes its place. So that would mean ABC would be copy 1. And that would mean that UVW. Then it says angle XYZ on copy 2. So XYZ is at the very bottom, so it starts on the left side and then it goes to the right. So then on copy 1 it would be DEF. And it would be NOP. So angles are labeled with 3 letters. Line segments are labeled with 2. So I've completed the table, which is what they asked me to do. Now I can see in my thumbnails that there's another part to this. So now it says, use the applet to answer the corresponding questions. Is either a scaled copy of the road sign? Explain your reasoning. So I'm looking at it, and I think that scaled copy 2 is a squished version, like they pushed it down from the top and it fattened out on the sides. Whereas copy 1 appears to be the right size because it's proportionally smaller. So is either copy a scaled copy? I think copy 1 is proportionally smaller. So then it says use the movable angle tool to compare angle KLM. So you have to tap where it says move and then you can pick it up. So KLM. So I'm going to have to turn it using that turn. So there we go. So I've Got it on KLM with its corresponding angles on copy 1 and copy 2. What do you notice? So KLM, I want to get it as perfect as possible. All right, that's as good as she's going to get. Now I'm going to pick it up and I'm going to move it. Well, on copy 1, it's exactly the same size. On copy 2, the angle is much bigger. So on copy 1, it is the same size. Copy 2, the angle is larger. And I want to bring your attention back. So even though the lines extend past, the mouth, the opening of the angle is exactly the same size. So that's kind of something important to keep in mind. So now let's look at the other one. It says use the movable angle tool to compare the angle NOP to its corresponding angle. So NOP. So if I mess up my points, I'm just going to hit the little double arrow thing, NOP. So I've got it on NOP. So now I want to check copy 1. So I want to hook it around that E. And the angle is exactly the same size. In copy 1, in copy 2, the angle is smaller. So I'm going to go back. What do I notice? In copy 1, the angle is the same size. Copy 2, the angle is much smaller. Which kind of goes along with my squishing from the top theory. All right, so now I'm done with this one. So I'm going to go to my next. I don't need this applet anymore. So I'm going to push it off. Whoopsie. Maybe it'll go. There we go. All right, so now it says Activity 3, Scaled Triangles. Circle one triangle in each pair that is a scaled copy of the original triangle. So we have side A, side B, side C, and then we're going to complete this table. So remember, it has to be multiplied by the same factor. So we want to make sure that we're thinking about multiplication and not addition. So I'm looking at the yellow triangles, and I see I'm automatically drawn to E because I see 10, and 5 times 2 is 10. 4 times 2 is 8. 3 times 2 is 6. So E is my scaled copy. So I'm going to say E. I'm going to say side length A was 8. Side length B was 6. Side length C was 10. So then I'm going to look at my next pair, and I'm going to think, what would be a scaled copy? Well, F definitely looks completely different. It doesn't look like it was pulled from the corner, and it's proportional. So, triangle B has the exact same numbers. So triangle B is my scaled copy. So that would be 4, 3, and 5. So then I'm looking at C, and C has a little bit of a different. They both have right angles, so I can't eliminate one just on looks. But then I'm looking at the numbers. So I see 10 over 3. I see 2 I see 8 over 3. So that kind of looks like this one, but it has the 3 underneath it. So now I need to think. So this is 10 over 3. This is 8 over 3. This is 6 over 3. Well, what does 6 over 3 mean? What does it mean to do 6, the division symbol 3? Well, 6 divided by 3 is 2. So G is my scaled copy. I know I can compare the triangles I've already circled because they're scaled copies. So G is my scaled copy. And I know I have 8 over 3, 2, 10 over 3. All right, and then my last one, same deal. This time they both have right angles. They've got decimals, but when I divide 4 by 2, I get the correct for this side, but 3 divided by 2 is not going to be 2. So now I'm kind of stuck with D, so let's make sure it's right. So 2 divided by 2 is 2. 3 divided by 2, well, that's one way to write it. 5 divided by 2, that's one way to write it. So I'm going to go with D, because I'm thinking about all the different ways I can write division, and a fraction is the one way I can write it. So D, so I have 2, 3 over 2, and I have 5 over 2. So then it says, so that activity is done. So I've compared them, I've looked at them, I've made my decisions. So now this one says polygon B is a scaled copy of polygon A. So they're already telling me it's a scaled copy. I don't have to figure it out. I just have to figure out by what factor. And remember, factor, we're always thinking about multiplication. And we're going from here to here. So what is the scale factor from polygon A to polygon B? Well, I have 2.5 and I have 5. So I know that I'm multiplying by 2. Should probably write that out. How do I know? Because 2.5 times 2 equals 5. I don't have any other sides to compare, so I kind of have to go off of that information. If I had more sides, I could give it more justification. So then it says, find the missing length of each side marked with a question mark. So I'm going to change colors here. So I know that I have to go from 1.5, and I'm multiplying by 2. So 1.5 times 2 is 3. And then I have another 2.5, and I'm multiplying that by 2. So another 3. So both of the missing, I'm sorry, would not be 3, it would be 5. 2.5 times 2 is 5. Then it says, determine the measure of each angle marked with a question mark. Now this is where it gets interesting, because remember the angles in a scaled copy didn't change? So the angles were exactly the same. They didn't double, they didn't do anything, they stayed exactly the same. So if this angle is 53, then this angle is also 53 degrees. If this angle is 82, then this angle is also 82 degrees. So the angles don't change. So angle size doesn't change. In scaled copies. Practice problem 4. Quadrilateral A has line segments 2, 3, 5, and 6. Quadrilateral B has side lengths of 4, 5, 8, and 10. Could one quadrilateral be a scaled copy of the other? Well, I put these pictures in here to support our learning. So I know the shortest side and then the next longest side. So it's not going to be perfect, but it's going to be close. And you want to go in the same order on quadrilateral B. So that would be 4, 5, 8, 10. So now I have to think, what do I multiply by? Because I'm always thinking about multiplication with scale factors. So this side to this side would be times 2. Then I have 3 times 2. Nope, that won't work. I have 5 times 2. That won't work. 6 times 2. That won't work. So could they be a scaled copy? No. So how do I know? All sides are not using the same scale factor. So all sides are not using the same scale factor. So that means that they're not scaled copies of one another. So now you're going to go on to Canvas and do your cool down. This is just the image in case it doesn't show up in Canvas, but you're not doing your work on here. This is just a place where you could solve it if you wanted to, like work it out, but the answer needs to be placed in Canvas. If you need help because you're done with this lesson and you're confused and you need a little more practice, then check out the Khan Academy. Or if you want to hear it from a different perspective, listen to Mr. Morgan. He might explain it in a way that makes it easier for you to understand. If you need to talk through it with somebody and you just kind of need to like bounce ideas back and forth, email your study buddy. Find out what they think and set up maybe a Zoom chat. And then if you need a small group lesson or a specific part of the lesson doesn't make sense, you're going to send me a specific email. I've got my email address here with the question and the help you need. And we can set up a time so that you and I in a small group can talk about this lesson. Make sure you upload the Keynote as a PDF and complete your cool down.